Morning, everyone. This is your midterm forecast. As you notice, this is not a Sunday, so you're getting your video a little bit early. I will be traveling to SIOP today. Today's Wednesday, and I'll be traveling all the way to Sunday and be coming back to Sunnyside, Florida then. But in the meantime, I did want to drop this video so that you get an understanding of the expectations and what's in store for you on your midterm week. Okay, so the first thing I want to start off with is actually the deadlines, making sure that we're all clear. Again, keeping in mind that this is for next week. Okay, so I see here, right? So Saturday, April 13th, you'll have your midterm presentation due. So you have all of the week to work on it, and you also have your book club summaries, and just make sure that you're getting those in as soon as possible because it just makes life easier. People are able to respond and have discussion when there are more posts there. Okay. All right. So let's again look at Unit 5, and this is when we get into more of practice. Notice that most of our training has been on theory, and now we're going to actually be applying those theories and models that you've been looking at within the Ferdman text. All right, so for Unit 5, you'll have your midterm presentation again and your book club. So we're going to look closely at your midterm presentation, and I actually already have it pulled up here. So you'll notice that there really aren't any readings for this unit, but it's always good to go back and review the Ferdman text. If you had any, if there were any specific topics that you are so confused about, please inbox me because it's just going to make it easier for you to be able to develop your midterm presentation. And notice I've been saying presentation a lot because it's not an actual document that you'll be providing for me. It will not be a Word document. It will be a PowerPoint presentation. So the idea here is to imagine that you're actually going to be presenting to Blue Health, right? That's the organization that we're going to be helping in terms of a diversity and inclusion initiative. Okay, so I want to spend some time looking at the midterm rubric. So notice that you'll be evaluated on a couple things. The how you analyze the case study, how you analyze Blue Health will be very, very important. It's worth 20 points, especially through the systematic and inclusive framework. A lot of you have been doing a great job with the organizations that you're working on with your team projects, right, in terms of the systematic and inclusive framework. But don't forget to incorporate that for this midterm. This is kind of a practice run again to get you feeling confident and ready to tackle the final project. All right. The next thing that you'll be evaluated on is how you synthesize your work. This is an area of opportunity that we all have, really. And so I'm going to be looking for more synthesis. I notice that sometimes we tend to use big quotes or we rely a lot on researchers when really we're supposed to, really notate what we understand from what those researchers are saying and apply it to the specific case that we're looking at. Okay, so don't forget that. 30 points in terms of how you provide logical and realistic recommendations. Now, one of the biggest things that comes to mind when it comes to this specific section is if you're going to put out their specific solution, then get specific, right? A lot of people, for example, say, oh, and a diversity training would be a great for this organization, but how are you going to promote that training, right? Who's going to be involved? How is that going to be communicated? We've gone through some communication methods, and I really want to see those incorporated. And it's just not a one size fits all, right? We can the training could be a solution for many organizations, but how you present it is also just as important, right? And I want to see that. I want to see you guys take another step forward than just stating, diversity training is, our recommended solution. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Definitely, if you're going to be using training, I want to hear a little bit more about what that training consists of. And lastly, you have 10 points here, and it's going to be evaluated on how you use your APA, right? Your scholarly writing and I'll also be looking into that. I notice some of you haven't started your APA for your final projects, and that's okay, but definitely for your midterm, I'm seeking those that APA in terms of, in-text citations, reference pages, well, reference slides, right? But I am looking for in-text citation within your slides, okay? Had to catch myself a little bit. So that equals to 100 points. Again, if you have any questions, by all means, please feel free to inbox me. Okay, so let's look at the actual midterm case, because I want to show you guys these specific instructions and standard requirements. So the first thing is that it's going to be in a Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, right? And the main point here is to offer those recommendations and to answer the questions that you see on the course room, okay? So, oh, there we are. Okay, so in terms of the standard requirements, by all means, please use pictures to illustrate your points. However, be sure to elaborate within your notes section. So if you're going to use pictures and bullet points, that's great because it's kind of like you're presenting to Blue Health, right? But I'm looking at the notes section to see, your analysis, and again, that you synthesizing your work, right? That scholarly writing, that's where your points are coming from. I'm also going to be seeking a minimum of 12 slides, right? Because there are about, I want to say, 6 questions. So roughly 2 slides per question is what I will be looking for. And one of the most important things is to utilize proper citations. I've been kind of referencing APA a lot. If you need more help in terms of APA, by all means, inbox me. It shouldn't be an excuse that you don't know it. I'm more than willing to help anyone when it comes to referencing. And also, there should be a minimum of 3 resources, right? And that does not include the main text, right? So I will like to see 4 references at minimum in your reference slide, right? Including the text, because that's what we've been working on. That's the meat and potatoes of this course. And of course, 3 other texts, whether there be textbooks, articles, I'm open, okay? All right. I'll let you read the case on your own. That's for you to analyze. But just some insight on the Blue Health case. This is actually an organization that I worked for. I was helping them with a diversity and inclusion initiative. And I changed a couple things around, but I wanted to know what your recommendations, what your thoughts, how you were able to analyze it for yourselves. Now, the advantage was that I was actually able to meet with these people face to face. But I had to start somewhere, right? It always starts with your research and your analysis, even with knowing the individuals. So I look forward to comparing what was actually done with what you all come up with. And I think that's the fun part, is that this is real. This is a realistic example. Okay, so what are your questions? Let me just move this over. All right. So your questions are to develop a diversity and inclusion strategy for the case study, right? Blue Health. Make sure your strategy answers the following questions. What are the obstacles and challenges in this case, right? What levels of the systematic and inclusive framework is or are most important when analyzing this organization? So a lot of you talk sometimes about leadership, but don't tie it into the systematic and inclusive framework. It's really important that I see that tie. And, some, again, in-text citations and references. Describe what communication methods can be utilized to address facts, feelings, and behaviors regarding inclusion in this case. Okay? What are the key competencies, tools, frameworks, and practices that you would use for this case? 5, what role does leadership play in fostering inclusive culture? Okay, and what are the potential solutions and recommendations based on your reading thus far? So, if you want to look ahead at Furman to look at some other solutions and possible recommendations, by all means, but I will only be basing it on what you know so far, right? Again, utilizing the notes section for the PowerPoint to explain your logic in detail, right? So it should read like a Microsoft Word document. I want it to look and have that same feel, but it's just going to be inserted in your notes section. Again, utilizing proper citations, a minimum of 3 resources, not including your main text. All right. So you're going to submit your midterm presentation after your assignment is graded, I'll definitely be providing feedback. And it's good that you all use that feedback to apply it to your team projects, right? I may be emphasizing some things that might help you in the future. And that's my goal. Okay, so the last thing that I want to go over is your book club, right? We're going to be going over what's easy for you is hard for me. So that's chapter 4 in Lindswood. And again, what are the biggest takeaways that you got from this chapter? What was interesting, shocking, or fascinating, right? And how can you apply what you learned to your everyday life, right? That's the basis. And just quickly, I want to go and look to see who is going to be our book club presenters for this week. So it looks like we have Wendy, Andrew, and Gallo. All right, so I hope and look forward to seeing what you guys provide as summaries. I also will be writing another announcement just to kind of talk about how these videos are helping you guys out. And if not, I will be having some more written announcements for the last end of the term. Okay, so we'll take a vote on that. Again, everyone, have a great day. It's hump day. You're getting through the week, and I'll talk to you soon. Make sure to inbox me if you have any issues or concerns, and talk to you all later.